Hi all, my name is Gulshan BANU, working as an assistant professor, AI and DS department, SNS College of Engineering. So we saw certain topics which was related to Unit 1. So now today we are here to deal with Unit 2, that is deep networks. In this deep networks, the topic that we are going to see today is history of deep learning and also some of the other basic concepts of deep learning. We will see like what is the history and what are all the basic concepts of deep learning. So yes, so when we see the history of deep learning, the deep learning was early began from 1940s to 1960s. In 1943, the journey began with Warren and Walter. Models of artificial neurons were actually being developed, which laid the foundation for neural network theory. In 1957, Mr. Frank introduced the perception, an early neural network model capable of learning and recognizing the patterns. Next, in the Winter AI from 1970s to 1980, despite early enthusiasm, neural networks faced challenges including computational limitations and some of the other factors that was leading to reduced the interest in the field. But in 1974, Mr. Paul developed backpropagation, a key algorithm for training neural networks, but it remained largely unnoticed until the mid of 1980s. Now, from 1980s to 1990s, Mr. Geoffrey and Yan both were more in having interest based on backpropagation, and they were having the interest on development of CNN process. So now after this in 2006, Hintel and his colleagues introduced the concepts of deep belief networks, that is DBNs, marking the formal beginnings of deep learning. In 2009, Fifi Lee's ImageNet project provided a large scale data sets, and from that it was training data learning models fueling advertisements in computer visions. Now we have certain breakthroughs and dominance from 2012 to 2016. So 2012, Alex and some of the other people were working based on the concepts of ImageNet. In 2014, the introduction of GAN was developed. In 2015, the development of alpha was made. In 2016, TensorFlow was bought. And in the recent tradition, it is actually being very emerging, as you all people know. So Gen AI and ChatGPTs are being very much developed each and everywhere. Now there are certain ongoing research which is based on deep learning with continuous efforts to evolve with advancements in areas like reinforcement learning, supervised learning and multimodal learning. Now the very basic concepts were dealt, like we saw what is actually the history of deep learning and all. Now we will see certain basic concepts which is related to deep learning. The first thing is the probability. Now what is probability? Probability is the science of quantifying uncertain things. So what is uncertain things? When you don't know any kind of process to be done, or when you are uncertain of what you have to actually perform, that it is or you are having uncertain data, that is called as a probability. Now most of the machine learning and deep learning system utilizes a huge data sets to learn patterns from the different kinds of data. Whenever data is utilized in a system, rather than sole logic, uncertainty grows up. Whenever uncertainty grows up, probability also becomes relevant. Now, how this probability theory will work is all about, you will be having n number of data sets. It can be any kind of data set, say for example a number 3 or something like that. So when you analyze the different data, that is called as an input layer. Now from that input layer you will be calculated with the certain process called as a weights and bias. So what is this weights and bias? Weights and bias are the different kinds of amount of process that is being executed, and the bias is the kinds of different external factors which is actually affecting the different kinds of inputs. Okay, from that you will be following the activation function. That is, I will explain you in the further videos, like what is activation function and all. In that you are having before activation and after activation function. From that activation function you will be getting the output. Okay, now as I have already told you, these all procedures will actually tell you like what is the process of it. Okay, now the first is the input layer. The input layer is a flattened vector of the size of the image. Say for example, we are just taking the image of the size 3, and that has the pixel length of 28 into 28, that is 784. Now from that it is passed to a hidden layer where the input vector is multiplied by the weights and the bias. We saw this, right? It is being calculated with the weights and bias. From that it is implicated that there are 10 digits and you have to apply an activation function for that. After being that activation function, which each element being a probability value for each that digit. After that we have to apply an argmax to get the index of the probability with the highest value, which is nothing but probability is actually being executed for each values. From that probability values you will be taking the maximum values from that, and then you will be getting the output from that. Okay, now these are the basic concepts of how this probability is being executed and what is probability and how the data is being executed. In the next upcoming videos I will be explaining you about some of the basic concepts of how this probability theory of deep learning actually works out. As of now, thank you and have a good day.